Hello, and this is Michael Siegenthaler with another tutorial of Skits. We're on to the part of the painting where everything is pretty much in place. All we have left to do now is just to do the work. We got to detail everything out. You got to go around, detail all them leaves, get the lighting right, get the colors right. We did a lot of photo bashing on this piece. So we really need to make sure that everything melds together properly to make a really nice sound piece. So what I figured we'd do on this one is we'd talk a little bit about what's going on. Skits comes from a series of dreams I had about 20 years ago. Now in this picture right here, this is when Skits first arrives on this planet. And this is Skits' first encounter with native inhabitants of the planet. Get them out of town. They run them out of town, run them away from their place. So this scene right here is Skits getting away from them. Now, does Skits have superpowers? Can he fly? Has he been thrown? There's all sorts of questions you can ask. But of course, if you want to know a lot more about Skits, you're going to have to read the book. The book is going to be fantastic. Now this right here is just Skits getting away from him. We don't know how he's getting away from him, but Skits is flying through the air away from him, so you just hold on and you'll find out. Remember when Neo and Morpheus first meet? He has that line that he goes, "Have you ever had a dream that was so real you thought you were awake?" That's pretty much what Skits is. He's dreaming, and he doesn't know that he's dreaming. Who is hurting Skits? Can Skits get hurt? In your dreams, do you ever get hurt? Or if you're right on the precipice of being hurt, do you wake up? I wanted to take a minute and talk about the mailing list. Mailing list is hugely important for us. The reason why is we got to know what we're working with before we get started. A lot of companies, if you actually have ever been in a big company, before they actually launch a product, they'll actually do an inquiry into the market. And what they're doing is they're actually trying to find out if a product that they have will actually work in the marketplace. They do surveys, they do they do groups, and they actually talk about the product or the idea for the product to a group of people. Well, the mailing list is actually like that. What I'm doing right now is I'm creating an idea of a product, and I'm trying to see who's actually interested in it. Now, when you get on the mailing list, one thing that you need to know is we're not actually going to be using your mailing list for anything except to sell you the product. We will only send you emails when we have something to sell or we got free stuff to give you. So don't be afraid to actually get on the mailing list. It is very confidential. We don't use it for anything except to send you what we promised you, and that's a product. The product that you're interested in. And the product that you're interested in is Skits. So sign up on the mailing list, get on there, and come help us out and let us know that you're interested in the product so that we can actually make it and sell it. We'd also like to know what you think of mailing lists. What have been your experiences with them in the past? Have they been good? Have they been bad? What did you like? What didn't you like? I remember way back in the late 90s, I remember I had a Hotmail email address. That was, I think I got that in 95, maybe 96. It was 96 I got it. It was right when I took off to college. And I remember in the early 2000s, maybe around 2002, 2003, that my email account had just gotten bombarded by junk mail to the point to where I just abandoned the email address. I mean, it got really bad. Back then, they didn't really have the tools that we have today to weed out junk mail or be able to mark stuff as junk mail so that we don't receive stuff anymore. and people were just selling your emails all over the place. But anyway, I ended up where I was getting like 600-700 emails a day, and it was just pointless to keep it. So at that time, I think Facebook was coming on at the time, so I just kind of dumped it, and that was the way I was able to keep in touch with friends. Actually, it wasn't Facebook, it was Friendster. For all y'all out there, Friendster, that was the one that everyone got on first. So I was on Friendster, and most of the people I went to school with were on there, so I didn't really need the email address anymore. So I just abandoned it. I was like, I'm done. I don't need 600 junk emails a day. So that's why I ask, what's y'all's experience with your email address? I got a Gmail account now, and they do really good job with weeding out all the garbage. So let me know. So let's get back to this painting now. Where are we? As you've been watching here, I've been changing a few different things and also been working a lot on where the light's coming from. So the light's coming from the top left corner in this painting, but you're also getting a reflected light from the creek on the backhand side of it on the right. So I've been working with this photo that I got of this bridge that I wanted to work with, but the lighting wasn't quite right on it, and the colors weren't quite right, so I had to just kind of go in and do a few changes here and there on it. Also, if you notice, made a big change to the tree on the right. It was looking really bland with it just being a trunk of a tree going straight up the side of the painting. So what I went ahead and did is I carved it out so that it had more of a gnarly look to it, and then added a few more vines in with some leaves and stuff like that. Anyway, it's just kind of changing it around with the perspective or the overall form, and you just want it to have an interesting look to the piece. And the tree was just too bland. It was just going right up and down the right hand side. Also put a village scene up on the mountain there in the background, just to kind of give a little more idea of where you're at. I didn't want it to just be trees and mountains. That'd be kind of boring. So I went ahead and just put like a silhouette of some buildings up there on the mountain where it's like, oh, he's getting close to something. What's he getting close to? Also starting to put in some fog in there, a little more lighting, making sure that everything in the foreground is nice and dark and everything in the background is starting to get light and faded out, which is what happens in perspective. Unless you go to some places like out west, if you ever been to the Grand Canyon, it's really crazy to look at. It looks fake, and the reason why it looks fake is because most of the time there's not much atmosphere there. There's not a lot of water in the air. So what you're looking at across the ridge there is like 15 miles, but it looks like you could almost reach out and touch it. And the reason why is there's not a lot of atmosphere in the air. There's not a lot of water, there's not a lot of particles and stuff. So it's really, really interesting to look at, and it looks almost fake the first time you see it. Skits is launching in the spring of 2020. Get on the mailing list today. Get your comic book tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, and share our videos. Also check out Come Get Some, a new show hosted by Black Star. She's the host of the universe. Doo doo.